Quick, drop a like and subscribe in the next 5 seconds or you're gonna run into an aimbot hacker in your next game of Warzone. Alright, what is good? What is happening? How is everybody doing today? My name is Chuck and welcome back to a brand new video. What up guys, here today is we're gonna be going over the top Grau 5.56 setup to use in Call of Duty Warzone. I know a lot of you guys really seem to love my M4 A1 class setup, my #1 M4 setup. So if you guys haven't seen that, make sure you guys go check it out because the M4 is basically the counterpart, as the M4 and the Grau are the top 2 assault rifles in my opinion to use in Call of Duty Warzone. You guys can definitely have different opinions on that, but at least for me personally, I think they are definitely the top 2. Before we get any farther into today's video, if you guys need some Call of Duty points on your account, make sure you guys drop a like on this video, hit that subscribe button with those notifications turned on, and really make sure you guys comment down in the comment section below. So not wasting any more time, and let's hop right on into this. I absolutely love using the Grau 5.56 in multiplayer and in Warzone. It absolutely slaps in both, and you guys can definitely alter up your attachments here just a little bit, but like I said, this is going to be my preferred class to use in Warzone. That's going to give me the most amount of mobility, it's going to give me prime recoil control, and it's also going to allow me to take people out super fast. So my first attachment I'm actually going to be running on the Grau 5.56 is going to be the monolithic suppressor. And the reason you want to run the monolithic suppressor is because if you run the lightweight suppressor or the tactical suppressor, you run this sort of risk of having it take away either your damage range or necessarily your aim down sight speed and aim walking steadiness without really giving you much of a benefit of actually increasing your damage range. And ultimately having a lot of range in Warzone is going to do you a lot of benefit because you're going to be running into people at super far distances and you want to be able to make sure you're taking them out as efficiently as possible. So if you guys really aren't running the monolithic, you're pretty much doing it wrong. And if you don't have the monolithic, make sure you guys go jump into multiplayer and grind out your Grau a little bit, especially in that shipment 10v10 playlist. It'd be incredibly easy to level up your Grau very fast. Moving on into my second attachment here for the Grau 5.56, I'm actually going to be running the Tempest 26.4 Archangel barrel, and I actually like in switching out between the FFS 20.8 Nexus barrel and the Archangel barrel. For whatever reason, the iron sights are just incredible on both of them, and they just do offer a little bit of a benefit to actually using either one. With the Archangel barrel, you're going to get a crazy amount of damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control, but it's going to hinder your mobility more or less. But with the Nexus barrel, you get a little less on all 3 of them, but you do get more mobility, so it kind of more or less comes down to your personal preference. I do really think the Archangel barrel is probably your better option to go with, especially for playing Warzone. But if you're going into multiplayer, maybe you're running something like the Nexus would be pretty good because you're not really getting into as many long range gunfights, and you'd probably rather have a little bit more mobility than, let's say, a little bit more range. The Grau, when you put that on, is going to give you a massive amount of range, so I would definitely recommend running a barrel. This is probably undoubtedly one of the most important attachments you can throw on your Grau because, you know, it's going to help with your recoil control, give you better range, and bullet velocity. You really can't argue with that. It's absolutely incredible. You need to run it. So for my next attachment here, this is going to be a bit interesting. This is something I've been experimenting with, and there's a variety of foregrips you actually can run on your Grau 5.56. So I absolutely love to run the Commando foregrip on my Grau, but actually in Warzone, I kind of swap it out a little bit because I think there could be a better option for giving me a little bit more better accuracy, and that is actually going to be the Ranger foregrip. And I just really do like how it stabilizes that vertical recoil and stabilizes the weapon for aiming with improved long range combat. I mean, you're going to be going into different long range gunfights when you're using, you know, the Grau in Warzone. So if you can be able to pick people off within those gunfights, I would say that using the Ranger foregrip is going to be your best bet. A lot of people like to run, you know, the Commando like I do in multiplayer, or you can use the Merc foregrip or, you know, something, or the Operator foregrip. But for me personally, I found that the Ranger foregrip is absolutely incredible, and it does do me a lot of benefit. The only con to it really is that your aim down sight walking moving speed and your aim down sight speed is a little bit hindered, but that's okay because we have some other attachments that are going to fix that up for you guys. So do not worry about anything regarding your aim down sight speed. You're going to be well taken care of. For my next attachment on my Grau 5.56, there is a big debate on this one, in specific on what is the benefit to running an extended clip or running whether it be the 50 round magazine or the 60 round magazine. Much like the M4, you have the option to run a 50 round and a 60 round, but what I will say is that every single time, 10 times out of 10, I will go for the 60 round magazine just because I absolutely love the way the 60 round magazine, you know, functions. I just love the amount of bullets I get into it, and especially if you're playing Warzone, having those extra 10 bullets can really be the make or break difference in between life and death. And I'll tell you, it's definitely coming clutch more often than not for me, and I don't really notice much of a benefit to running 50 rounds over 60 rounds, but once again, this is all personal preference, and I've been playing with a 60 round magazine basically on my assault rifle, more or less from the time the game came out, even before Warzone was a thing. So if it works for me in multiplayer and it actually still works for me in Warzone, I say that you guys should definitely go ahead and run the 60 round magazine on your Grau class setup in Warzone. You're just going to thank me later for it. When you have those last few bullets in the magazine, you're able to take somebody out. So then going on to my final attachment here before we actually go ahead and take a look at some of the perks and my secondary, I'm actually going to go with the no stock attachment. And the reason you're going to want to run the no stock attachment is because even though you'll lose a little bit of accuracy, range, and control, you've more than made up for that with the monolithic suppressor and the Tempest Archangel barrel. But you also, for running the no stock attachment, get a huge increase in movement speed and aim down sight speed. So all those negative effects you would have gotten from those barrels and your different attachments, you now have basically gotten back your mobility within this one single attachment. And I find this really does help me out, and I'm able to play super aggressive using the Grau, just because it's like, hey, I mean, I'm using the Grau, I'm able to just run around, absolutely beast on people, and not really have to think twice about like, oh my god, my gun is going to be too sluggish, it's got great range, but I can't really push with it. So for me to be able to not have to think about that and have incredible range, this setup is absolutely god tier. And I dropped a pretty awesome 21 kill gameplay, which you guys have been seeing in the background of this video. I mean, you can see it just absolutely shreds people at any and all range, close, medium, and long. You're able to pick people off. Obviously, some ranges you're more or less better suited for a sniper, but besides that, you guys know that this thing is god tier at close, medium, and long range. So I'd highly suggest running this specific attachment setup combination on it if you really want to progress well and do really and place really high in Warzone. I was having a lot of fun playing BR Stimulus solos, as that's why I got this game plan. It just makes solos so much more fun. To go down to my secondary, I actually really didn't bring out my secondary much in the gameplay, but what I will say is that I actually enjoy having a Renetti as my secondary. Even though if it's not akimbo, I just like having it with a suppressor. I think it's actually really beneficial just to have at least a Renetti on there with the burst modification. Obviously, having the monolithic suppressor, your lightweight trigger, 27 round magazine, your XRK Pro grip. You're actually getting most of these attachments when you actually get one of the variants of the Renetti in the Battle Pass, which is the Guard 1. And I use that, and I don't really change anything minus the actual barrel attachment, which gives me my tactical suppressor instead of a compensator. So you can really get this sort of setup here quite easily. And I think having a Renetti on your class is incredibly beneficial. I mean, it's just a really solid backup. And if you need to burst somebody real quick and, hit him with a headshot, you're going to be able to do it in case maybe you run out of bullets in your Grau or something like that. This will definitely do the trick. Going on down to my perks, I actually run a series of perks that more or less stay universal on almost all of my classes. I like to run Cold-Blooded, Ghost, and Amped, and the reason I run Cold-Blooded is because I want to be able to stay off of thermal optics, and it really doesn't trigger the high alert warning. So if people are camping with high alert and they think I'm looking at them, I won't actually trigger it right using Cold-Blooded. If you think you're running into a lot of explosives, you can run EOD. The reason I actually happen to run Ghost is because, especially in BR Stimulus solos, when everybody's got that $4,500 to start out, and you do get money, pretty fast and efficiently, you're going to have a lot of UAV spam. So I want to be able to stay off the radar with Ghost. You can definitely run something like Overkill if you really want to have a secondary primary, but I really like running Ghost, and just so I don't have to hit the loadout drop twice, I can just hit it once, and I don't really have to think about anything else like that. And then third, I like running Amp just because I'm able to swap to my secondary weapon or swap back to my primary very fast. It comes in clutch in those situations where you're really up close with somebody, maybe you run out of ammo or something, and you're just able to instantly swap over to your secondary. And especially because it's the Renetti pistol, you're going to whip that thing out incredibly fast. So having Amped on is going to do you a lot of good. And I would just say, I mean, hey, you can run Amped, but you can definitely run something else if you absolutely feel like it's necessary. I think I started out by running Battle Hardened on a lot of my setups, but then I figured out that more or less it was a little bit useless. And ever since, I've been running Amped on my setups, and I just have not taken it off because I do believe it is the god tier, third tier perk. And then to round out my Grau 5.56 loadout, I'm actually going to be running the C4 lethal, because I think C4 is incredibly beneficial just because if a vehicle is coming at you, if somebody's camping, you can toss that in the window, you can toss it at the vehicle, shoot, I mean, you can even toss it at a helicopter if you really want to, and you can just blow it up. It works like magic. It's so useful. You get two of those things. I would suggest running C4 as I think it's, pretty useful. And then for my tactical, I happen to run the heartbeat sensor, especially when you're playing solos. People like to camp, people don't like to play aggressive, and if you do happen to run into some of those people that are camping and they aren't on your UAV, it can be actually pretty good. So with that being said, that's really all I got got for you guys here in today's video. This is my overpowered Grau class setup, my top tier, my #1 Grau setup that I'm going to be running from here on out. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you guys drop a like on it, hit that subscribe when those notifications turn on. Make sure you guys comment down in the comment section below. And with that being said, I'll see you guys back here again tomorrow with yet another brand new video. Just remember, don't triple cap, don't be Randy, and I'm out. Peace.